Welcome to Dance to Heal. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how dance and movement can bring healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that movement was vital to my recovery. I created Dance to Heal Wellness and also authored the best-selling book, Outside in Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new techniques to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. After a marketing degree from San Francisco's Academy of Art University and a certificate in branding from the University of London, Sara Reed enjoyed a rewarding journey as the co-founder of the La Folia Winery. She has elevated global brands to new markets during her tenures at top agencies in San Francisco and New York City. Sara is currently focused on the privilege of coaching speakers, coaches, and skincare companies on developing, elevating, and refining their markets and public media relations. I am so excited to have you here, Sara. The introduction tells everybody what your background is. And I want you to just explain to people, like, why is PR so important?
Absolutely. I think PR is a way for people to tell their story and to have visibility to that story. Whether you are an entrepreneur or just, have an incredible story to tell, PR is definitely a way that you can utilize that and harness that power. So PR means public relations, but it also, in the context that I teach, is how to pitch the media. And it can be your local news channels with a lifestyle show. It can be national editorial, like magazines that are online or printed. And it can even be pitching yourself to podcasts and telling your story there. So PR is important because it does bring more people to you, whether that's on social media or to your website, but just to know the message that you have to share, the impact that you want to have in the world.
I love that. I love that reminder, right? Even if someone doesn't have the goal to be a speaker on TEDx,
Mhm,
if you have a business, you have a message, you have a book, any of
mhm.
those, to
Yeah,
practice speaking your message. Because really, honestly, we're both a part of this membership where it's really talking about being seen so your ideal clients can find you.
right. And so, yeah, I work for the Super Connector Media full time, and I teach and coach PR and branding and some marketing skills. And what I find is whether you have, a business or not, everybody wants to have an impact, and everybody has a special set of skills that really is your responsibility to share with the world. And so, PR can do that for you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because folks, so full disclosure, Sarah and I go back way, way back. And
Yes.
she didn't pitch to come to the podcast. I was like, you had to come to my podcast because
Yes.
you have so many things to share. I mean, besides knowing each other through Super Connector, you just recently started a podcast with your mom. She's so cute, folks.
I did. It's so fun. I wanted to, so the things that I teach on a daily basis and talk about, pitching the media, pitching yourself to podcasts, starting a podcast, all of these things I teach, I wanted to make sure that I was walking the talk. I used to be an entrepreneur. I had a winery, as you mentioned, and I've done, my husband and I had a restaurant that didn't make it through COVID. Those things happen. But I am wanting to do something that really keeps my skills sharp. And so I started a podcast with my mom. It's called Reading Between the Lines. And reading is like our last name, Reed. And it's still growing, and we're having a lot of fun. And really what's so fantastic is that it's encapsulating. It's time. What is it like when you have a time capsule? It's time capsuling these moments and these conversations with my mother. And I'm really excited about that. I have a daughter who's 13, and hopefully, she'll take an interest in these later on, and maybe even for her great great grandchildren. I mean, wouldn't it be amazing to be able to hear a conversation between your great 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 grandmother and her mother? That would be incredible. And so that's the goal. But we also talk about books, and that's the subject matter. So fiction and storytelling.
There's something to be said about finding ways to get to know your mom.
Yes, in ways that are mm, on a level ground, because sometimes relationships with mothers are difficult, even in-laws as well. And there are, moms could be complicated. So this is a really nice, like neutral way that my mom and I can really be very close friends. We can share our ideas and our thoughts as women and how these different books and stories affect us and our opinions about them. So it's a ton of fun. Sometimes I rope my brother in to have a more intellectual conversation about themes. He's very interested in books about time travel and like sometimes like quantum physics and how that plays into things. And so we talk a lot about, these different stories that have really stayed with us.
That's a nice, fine family tradition I can get behind.
I think so. I think it's really cool. Yeah, I tried to get my daughter Eva to be like to do a book review. She's a tween. Actually, no, she's a teenager with being 13 now. God help us. So she said maybe. She's a little nervous. So we'll see if I can get her in there. But Um,
Ooh.
one amazing thing that's come out of the podcast as well is that I've been able to connect with a lot of other brands, which one of those brands is Hannah Cho Beauty. And we can talk about Hannah a little bit.
I'm like, I have my handy dandy. Those of you who are not watching the YouTube, I'm flashing a little uh, fake leather container that says
Oh
Hannah
yeah,
Cho Beauty. It has all these really cool tools on there to make sure your lashes stay.
yes,
So, yeah, Hannah Cho Beauty is an Asian female woman-owned company, and her biggest take is that those of us with heavier set, she calls them monolids, where our lids just are so heavy, our eye, like nothing sits on our lash line, everything gets pushed down. And this
yeah.
brand of this particular lash that both Sarah and I are wearing. So if you're on the just the audio, you got to go to the YouTube to see how fly we both look with our lashes. I'm just
We
so
look amazing.
I
I
know,
should
I know.
Now, I love that Hannah Cho has asked us both to be ambassadors. I am not Asian, but I have hooded lids. And while Jenny has monolids, and there's not a lot of difference. You can see a little bit more of my lid when my eyes are open than maybe Jenny's. Jenny's fully disappears.
Mm-hmm.
But these lashes are made for these types of lids. And I didn't know that before. I didn't know this was a thing. Jenny got me on to Hannah Cho Beauty. And it's really has changed how I feel about wearing lashes. I used to do extensions, and boy, is that super expensive. Um, but these are great because I feel like they really open up your eye a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, and they have these cool tools because
Yes.
I have this nemesis of my left eye, folks, that it waters, and I have a plugged duct. So when I start to water, my liquid in my eye doesn't go into any type of drainage. It just comes up over my eyelid.
Yeah.
So all the eye makeup
Oh,
gets removed, any eyelashes will start to detach. Just because nothing can last through my tearing for a 5, 6 hour wear day. And they
yeah.
have these tools that will pinch your natural lashes and the fake lashes gently together. And
And it
then
looks very seamless.
yes, and then I don't have that other, so like I don't have the fake lash and then my real lash sticking straight out because my lashes are really straight. That
Mine
weird,
too.
right?
Yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
what that is, but I have very straight blonde lashes, and then you can't really see them, and so that's why I love the mascara. But the lashes also help really emphasize, the kind of the cat eye look that I'm going for. And then I also know from Hannah that she said that she also designs these lashes to be longer in the middle, which is not typical for other lashes. Usually people want them to be long on the sides, again, for that cat eye look.
Hmm.
But when you have hooded or mono lids, you need more of that opening and that brightening effect with the longer lashes in the center. So,
Yes, yes. And then I don't know if you're using this trick, folks. So this is actually a slightly
yes.
unplanned conversation. What I do with my lashes is because I'm still recovering from chemotherapy, right? And the
Yeah.
subsequent menopause. So, and my type of breast cancer, I'm not allowed to do hormone replacement to boost up. I'm doing collagen. I'm doing all these other things to boost the hair
Yeah.
growth back. However, they're very sensitive. And what I need to do to get the lashes to be pinched together with the Hannah Cho lashes, like my lashes, is I curl them very gently with an old company. Like the Mary Kay lash
Hmm.
curlers used to be very flat. They weren't really curved because I would pinch all my little skin because I have I have a
Yeah.
flatter facial feature in the front, right? And
Yeah.
I curl my lashes, put on mascara, and then put on the Hannah Cho lifted lashes. And then when
That's
I
what I do.
clamp them, you do too, right? Just so you know, folks, you want to do that extra thing when you get the lashes to try yourself.
I find it so much easier to put on. And also, then I have this was your tip to like put the mascara on first, let it dry, and then put on your lashes because which is great because now I'm not clunking up my lash with mascara it doesn't need. So it's not an overly heavy look. Plus, my lashes come right off and they're clean and beautiful and great. So for
Yeah,
another day.
yeah, exactly. Because usually the other brands, which are beautiful, they just didn't fit my eye. I'm putting the eyelash glue on the entire band, and the way the Hannah Cho ones are, you're putting the lash glue on the very top of it. It's a very little bit,
Exactly.
right? And then so
Teeny
once it's
tiny.
done, because I was doing too much, and then I would glue
Yeah.
my eyelids like open because I wasn't waiting.
Yeah. Yeah. Been there. Uh-huh. I also wanted to mention because I, in my mind, I call Hannah Cho like beautiful, beautiful Hannah Cho. She is stunning. She has freckles, and she's just beautiful. I just adore her, and her the product that she has created is just so easy to put on, and it stays on, and that's what I need because I don't do a lot of makeup, but I want to look great on camera for calls or in person events. So
Exactly. We're gonna see each other soon.
I know
I
we're
know.
gonna wear our lashes
I
together. Um,
know. Well, Hannah also does those makeup tutorials,
yes, exactly. Yeah,
right? Where
she's
she
great.
where she shows us how to do enough make. So I want to tell you this funny. I'm in a group where the owner of the group is this amazing person. I'm gonna have to have Amy on, and Amy does color analysis. That's not the standard type of, your winter,
Yes.
blah blah blah. She is helping me be much more straightforward with colors that accentuate. So that someone sees me and they're like, oh, she's trustworthy because I am. Sometimes I wear colors
Yeah.
that don't necessarily help portray that.
Yes.
And I was asking a question. I was trying to be a little bit snarky with myself. I was like, what about a 56-year-old monolid who's a earth element? What eyelash, what eye color should I have? And somebody else decided to tell me, no, you have hooded eyes in the group. You have hooded eyes. And you really need to make sure that your makeup is done so far up, it's almost to your eyebrow. I
I've
was
heard that. Yeah.
I was like, no, because
No.
that on the YouTube, you all see like I just do a hint of it over my brow line where the bone is, and then that's it. Because if I did it up to here, it would be a flashback to the 70s, right?
Yeah, I'm just like, when you look at a Barbie doll and the eyeshadow is like right just stopping under the eyebrow. Yeah, no, we don't need that.
No,
We don't need that.
we
It's
don't
not a
need that. I
natural look.
mean, I love that I can wear very little eye makeup.
Yeah.
And I was on another mentoring call for the the company that I'm certified through for the NLP work, Avalon
Yeah.
Empowerment. We were just on a call and I was explaining to them how amazing these lashes are because I struggle with feeling that my eyes are so small when I'm on an online call. I want people to be able to see into my face fully because it
Yes.
give an impression, whether or not it's my intention, that I'm hiding
Yeah.
something if you can't quite see because I have really thick glasses. So,
Yes.
if I took off my glasses, you could see my eyes. I'm
Yeah,
blind, y'all. I need my trifocals. So when I'm wearing my glasses, sometimes you can't fully see my eyes. And I want people to know that I know what I'm doing and I'm not hiding anything. And I love these lashes that they can pull my eyes open. You can see them.
exactly. Yeah. It's
Right.
a also having your eyes open, and it just builds trust, like when you're trying to build relationship as well. I mean, everyone teaches you as a child, like make eye contact. And when you say, your please and thank yous, but it helps to build those strong relationships. So,
Right, right. Because now post the pandemic, it really
mhm.
is about relationships because most of us are feeling really lonely.
Yes. This is a good transition because I wanted to talk about be a testimonial for you. So,
Oh,
I'm going to transition to talking about the QCP session that we did because it has helped me in understanding my relationships with my family and important people in my life. I was feeling a little alienated, or maybe I was choosing to alienate myself from some of them. And that's really helped with that. So maybe can you explain what QCP is? Because you're much better at this.
actually, I was glad I went to that Avalon. We do a monthly check-in call because it reminded me that there was one thing I forgot to tell you, and I was really lucky you trusted me with my own truncated definition of it. So, folks,
Yeah.
just to give you a little background, when Sarah and I first had a conversation about it, I described it as a forgiveness process to better understand what was preventing the present Sarah from moving on through things she knew
Yeah.
weren't good for her. And it's just, what is
Yeah.
that block that prevents you? For example, for me, I would be in communities where people would take advantage of me, right? And I couldn't stop doing it. Even though I know, stop, like, this is it. This is the last time I'm going to overcommit to a group of people that just take me for granted. And then,
Yeah.
3 months later, I'm back in another community where in the beginning, they're very appreciative of me. And then they just assume I'm going to always do it. If you've seen Inside Out 2, I'm anxiety. Um, what can I do? Backup plan on backup plan on backup plan. Sometimes it's almost as if my true reason for doing it was always my safety, not really to serve you. And
Yes.
right. And once I started doing a QCP and understanding, oh, because really my worth from when I was 18 months old was tied into how useful I could be.
Exactly. And
Right. Once
so, yeah, and it's really like, I mean, of course, all of our actions are really driven by like keeping ourselves safe and what we get out of it. But um, I think our interactions after this, after QCP, really helps us understand um, how we can give more of ourselves to others and be more available but I'm not explaining this very well, but still having boundaries and understanding when other people are irritating me or encroaching on my boundaries. I understand why better, and I can forgive that, or I can at least understand it, and not internalize it quite so much because it's not always about me. It's about them and how their perspective of the world.
yeah, yeah. I was reminded to explain it also has a beginning of the clearing out process.
Hmm.
You know, a lot of when we're not made aware of old scripts that we made up as children to get through
Yes.
really trying times, they're very similar to cobwebs that
Hmm.
are kind of holding on to you and encapsulating everything. You're not even aware of them. They're like invisible cobwebs. And a QCP is the beginning of that process of clearing and sweeping those away.
100%. And it's really helpful. I'll use my ex-husband a little bit as an example because that's one of the things that we discussed a little bit. And just my relationship. We co-parent a child, and boy, he's still the only person on this planet who can really push my buttons and get me really fired up and irritated. And I realize now that it's just he doesn't mean to. It's just how he is, and I am learning, about it just I'm putting it into his actions into a bigger perspective, and it's helped me a great deal. So,
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you. I
yeah.
This is the first one I've heard of that. I love this. I had another client who said to me, Jenny, I've had years of talk therapy, years.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
after that QCP with you, I felt lighter in a way I've never felt. And I still feel like, because
Yes.
I checked in with her 2 weeks later, and she's like, I still feel lighter. I didn't even know there was this weight on me until after,
Hmm.
and it was gone.
Yeah. And it's a self-imposed weight that we're putting on ourselves. And it's nice to have some clarity about that. Like you said, clearing out the cobwebs and kind of reframing things and relationships. I mean, I have known my ex-husband since I was 16 years old. He was my high school sweetheart. And so there's a lot of history there. And so, I feel a little bit lighter in how I have when I have conversations with him, and we get along fine in general, but I have less also guilt that comes up for me about my behavior in our marriage, versus, and then also less anger toward him for his part. So it's been very helpful for me with the process. And again, talk therapy has not been nearly as helpful as this was. And what's great is it was just one session, and we'll do another later. But for now, it was in that 2.5 hours we spent in the session, it was extremely uplifting for me.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So that QCP one that Sarah did, folks, in our lifetime, you only ever do one because that gets to the very beginning core clearing out and beginning of the transformation. Because similar
Hmm.
to um, layers of an onion, I don't really like the layers of an onion. I kind of
Mm.
like to think of it as the layers of a cabbage or even like a dahlia flower, you
Yes,
know?
dahlia flower.
Yeah, like I've been moving more into that for my business and also for helping people understand that when you start to bloom out of you what's keeping you from growing, you're going to open up the only the outer layers, and that's what QCP1 does. It starts to just have you let go. Boom. And then you got to do a little bit of compression, reset, and then you come back and do a QCP2, and then you open up again. Or maybe you do something else with me that has to do with a mental fitness type of training, and then you open up a little bit more, and then you'll have to recover a little bit. So this
Hmm.
gradually opening, whether or not you work with me or anybody else, recovery has to do with that, folks. Let's just be really clear.
Yes,
To bloom means to grow and then take stock and then gather strength to grow again.
100%. It reminds me a little bit of like physical therapy. There's physical, I mean, yeah, you know what I mean. Like, when you're trying to heal something, you do have to work those muscles and you have to push them a little bit out of their comfort zone so that you can heal and build strength appropriately. And it's kind of the same thing with QCP. I also loved that I didn't need to like regurgitate my entire life history in full detail, which is also like a big dump on Jenny, and nobody needs that. I mean, therapists, sorry, for anyone who is a talk therapist, like my apologies, the experiences that I've had have not been terribly positive, which is why for me, a QCP session really was lovely. And I really encourage anyone who hasn't tried it before to reach out to Jenny to learn more about the process because it was really fantastic.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you guys. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting those high accolades. And here's the thing, I want to be really clear, right? Because we go through talk therapy and there's in the even the beginning when I'm taking down all the logistics, I'm asking, are you seeing a therapist? Are you on medications that I need to be aware of? I really love that awareness because I was an occupational therapist before. I worked
Yes.
in acute cardiac, acute rehab, acute recovery, and I absolutely know how essential that the medical field plays in people's recovery. So, what I want you to know is if you love your therapist and you've hit an impasse, I also
Mm,
work with therapists and can send them with your consent a synopsis of what we've done so that it can help you go further along with your talk therapist. If you're in a situation where you love them
yeah.
and they're like, you need to do something else, like we've hit an impasse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's really helpful. I hadn't thought about that, but that would be really helpful for a lot of people too, I think.
yeah.
Um, I think you explained this to me, like when you're in talk therapy, sometimes having or just starting out building out relationship with a therapist and having to hash out every single detail of the thing, of the trauma, big T and little t trauma, it's very overwhelming, and it's really drugs up a lot of yucky things, and not everybody needs that. You might not be in a mental space where you want to go through that. I have depression, and so I always am trying to keep my this what affects me at arm's length. I want to keep things, so that I have to protect my mood, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
And QCP was able to protect me from having to go into like too many details about situations, but rather um, get the clarity that I needed from kind of reframing the situations and the relationships.
Yeah, yeah. And certainly, even though I have the background as an occupational therapist, and I have specialized in psychology and psychiatry in those realms, right?
Yeah.
A lot of coaches who are NLP certified through Avalon don't necessarily have that background, even though one of the co-founders right now came from social work. So she
Yeah.
knows how important it is to work concurrently if that's something that works for you, right? And the key is that it's all under the umbrella of how do we get you unstuck?
Hmm.
How do we
Yeah.
get a person to understand, oh, I'm stuck, I'm in a destructive loop. How do I get out of it? And
Yeah.
right, and someone can just hold us in safety. That's the biggest thing. And I want to go back and loop it right back, okay, to how we started this whole thing, because I just realized I've gone a little bit
Yeah.
over time and I'm going to get in trouble with my producer. We're gonna have to have you come back, okay, Sarah?
Okay. Yes,
Okay, so
absolutely.
to go back to that whole thing about how, oftentimes in any type of talk therapy, we will bring up, oh, the whole idea of projection, right?
Yeah.
So for example, if I walk in and I'm like, oh, everyone's angry at me.
Yeah.
This is a very, very neutral type of story, so don't anyone take it too personally.
Interpret. Yeah.
Yeah, don't just stay along the story with me. And some of it is because, oh, I actually had a really nasty attitude. So I'm the common denominator, right? Versus
Yeah.
I'm having a great day and one really nasty person just pisses me the heck off. Versus um me myself, if I'm having a really good day and I know where I'm at, and I'm one of those people who, again, if I'm walking out, I know already if I greet someone with openness and friendliness, there's a good possibility they're going to greet that back to me, or at least stay neutral. They're not going to hit me
Absolutely.
back with anger. If I come out with attitude, and my husband and I have discussions about this because he's a New Yorker.
Mm.
He's a New Yorker, okay? He's a New Yorker. So he's got attitude. He's kind of like, what do you want? You know? I have noticed that for the most part, about 90% of the time, people are really pretty nice back or neutral,
Absolutely.
right? And if I get one or two nasty people, I can flip it and go, oh, are they having a bad day? Something going on behind? Is someone sick?
Yeah.
Someone pass away? Are they losing a pet? And I can let it go. If
Yeah.
I'm a day when I'm fatigued and tired, and or specifically I found out some bad news about a friend, and so my
Mm.
whole perspective is skewed, right? It's going to be
Yeah.
much harder for me on my outward appearance to be open. I'm almost a walking, so like a tender spot walking around outside.
Yeah. 100%.
And that same situation of those two people, even one person being mean to me, or my perception of it, it's going to sting and hurt in a different way,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
That
So
makes sense. Hmm.
tying that back to the whole PR thing though, right? When a person's practicing to do that, how do they prepare for it so that they are maximizing that positive outcome?
That is very smart. Okay. I would say that, especially when pitching the media, what they want is an outcome that's going to uplift their audience or teach their audience or have their audience take action. So what I typically will tell people is tell your story, and it can be a traumatic story and it can have a lot of sad parts, but we want to lift it up at the end. There has to be like a moral of the story. Think of like a fairy tale, or not, maybe not a fairy tale, but think about like a children's story. There's typically some conflict, and then at the end, our main character has come out, of the tunnel, and has learned something about themselves, or how they, has more self-awareness now. So what observation, or what did you learn from this experience, and how can that help others if they're experiencing the same thing? Maybe they're not at the end of the journey yet, they're still in the trenches of it. That's how you can really impact people with your story. And it's definitely something that the media wants to hear about, because again, they want their audience to have an emotional connection to what you're talking about, and to, again, either learn or feel really good.
Oh, I love that.
So,
Thank you. All
mhm.
right. I'm getting the mess. Okay, okay. Thank you, Sarah. We'll see you again
My
soon.
pleasure.
Thanks for coming. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to Dance to Heal with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of recovery through movement and learn more ways that you can move your body. To work with me and continue your journey, visit OutsideInRecovery.com. Are you ready to move?